Bonjour, Mahingin Indigenous, Mahingin Nododum. That's Ojibwe language, and it means I'm from the Wolf clan and my spirit name is Wolf. That was given to me by a Mi'kmaq elder. So I'm a new professor at Lakehead University in the Faculty of Education, and I work in Aboriginal education. And my research is taking an Aboriginal worldview and applying it to the research process. My PhD is in Peace and Conflict Studies, so I'm primarily concerned with relationships between Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people in Canada, and then applying that also in an international context with it through an Indigenous point of view. My research came about from a conversation that I had with a friend of mine. He invited me to go to a traditional ceremony, which was a fasting ceremony. And those kind of ceremonies are done for healing, to answer questions for a variety of reasons. Anyways, we were finished the ceremony. We were driving to Toronto, and we were having a conversation about research in general. I was explaining to him that when I did my master's degree, I had a real hard time with it because I felt like the university was pushing me to do research in a way that I didn't feel comfortable. So I had to try to meet the requirements of the university, and I didn't like the way they were expecting me to do it. I felt like they wanted me to sit in my office, come up with a design, come up with a methodology, and then go to the community and do it. But what I really wanted to do was work with my community on that. And so what he did was he said to me, well, maybe there's a way that your people would describe that. And so that's what started me on the journey. So I went back home. My mom's a native language teacher. So I sat with her and asked her if there was a way that we could describe in Ojibwe language how we would learn with each other. And so we came up with this term, Kin Omadawad Megwa Dodamawad, and it translates as they are learning with each other while they are doing. So really that's where the germination point for my research came from. And the idea is that if we can eliminate some of the power between researcher and those being researched, then it can be used as a peace building process. So the idea is that if we learn with each other, we learn about each other as cultures, then we have this ability to create better understanding between groups, and then so the idea is to create avenues where we have the ability to learn with each other. I have a lot of abuse in my family and alcoholism, and I think part of my journey in leading towards my research was not knowing that I was trying to heal myself and try to come to understanding with some of the things that happened in my past. So through my research, I learned that there was sexual and physical abuse in my family, and that has had a big impact on me in my life. So I think being drawn to peace and conflict studies, and this is also how I feel an Indigenous worldview works, is that the Creator kind of guides you, and your job is to try to figure out why you're getting experiences, why things happen to you, and what you try to learn from that. Typically when we do research, we might come up with a hypothesis and then try to confirm that, or try to gather specific pieces of knowledge that would validate or unvalidate that. But for me, I kind of try to look at it the other way and say, well, when somebody is giving me pieces of information, what is it that I'm meant to learn from it? Helping my people is the number one passion that I have in my life. I do that, and I've done that in all kinds of ways. And my research is just one part of that. Most of our history, or the stereotypical history, is very negative, and I think people have internalized that. So I try to change those stories. And so when we're gathering the stories from my research, the idea is to help people remember the good things about our lives. I think for me personally, as I went through school, I never felt comfortable in school. I flunked out of high school. I was sharing earlier with a friend of mine that being in university is kind of scary. Being as a professor is really bizarre for me because it's a place I never felt comfortable. And being with all the academics and the way we talk and the way, and I know I'm becoming that. I'm being enculturated into the culture of academia, and I don't want to lose myself in that. I don't want to lose the idea of that I'm an Indigenous person and how important that is to me. I want to make sure that I keep the values that I hold deeply that my community taught me, things about respect, kindness, that impact our ability to do things in the academy. People get into research and higher level education for different reasons. For me, I feel like it was kind of accidental. I never thought I would ever go in that area. When I first started, you have these ideas that maybe something you think about might change the world or help people and things. If people can read my work and know that I put my heart and soul into it, I think that's really what I want people to understand. As an Indigenous person, we have a history, and that history impacts me, and it is who I am today. That's been painful sometimes. It's also been amazing a lot of times. And so I hope people can understand that when they read my work. I hope that they can understand that, I never thought I would be in an academic setting. I'm there now. So I want to try to challenge the larger structure of research and try to say that, there's different ways of doing things, there's different ways of thinking, there's different ways of learning. And I think by embracing difference, it creates opportunity. We do ourselves a disservice by not sharing our culture because it's such a beautiful culture and there's lots that people can learn from it. And I think when you bring those two worlds together, we can come up with an amazing product, an amazing approach to things. And I think the world is missing that. So environmental problems are an example of that. We've lost touch with things that are essential for our survival. And I think we need to get that back, and our culture can offer solutions to those kinds of things. So if you want to know more about this approach to research, probably the best place to go would be an Aboriginal community. Spend some time there, meet some people, participate in the kind of ceremonies that they may have around campus at Lakehead University, and the other place is the Faculty of Education at Lakehead University.